As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.
And Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. And today is Friday, January 22nd. Crystal, this month is almost over.
Yeah, but it just started. The whole new year just started on January 20th, man. Well, I don't know what we were doing before that, but it wasn't the new year yet.
So this is the second day of the month, right?
This is the second day of the month, and we are excited. And actually, is it the second? No, it's the third. Yeah, it's the second. No, the third day. It's actually January 3rd.
Oh, okay. I hear
Why?
that.
Gilbert, why did the new year start on January 20th?
Because January 20th is when we had a real legitimate president.
The grown up came into the room and told everybody to act right.
The grown up came into the room and start making sure things are done properly and legitimately.
So true that, man. True that, boy. It was nice. Oh my
Yeah.
God. I woke up early. I watched, I went, turned on the television, and the calmness, it was like I took a breath of fresh air. It felt like I was out from underneath the siege that we had been under for the last, for the last 4 and 5 years. Actually, it was 5 years. It was more than just, the 4 years that he was president. It was the year leading up to it. So it is awesome. We can breathe.
Every day you would wake up on pins and needles going, okay, what is going to go wrong today? What is going to change? How is it going to affect our lives today? Right? Unbelievable.
Exactly. We never knew what was going to happen to us. It was so. And Biden hit the ground running,
Oh,
man.
for sure. See,
He left the inauguration.
That's what happened, Crystal, when you are a pro. When you're seasoned professional, you know how to hit the ground running. You know what to do. You've been doing it for years. If I took you out of your environment and I took you to another state and say, Crystal, I want you to do forensic accounting, bookkeeping, and take care of these small business, you will know exactly what to do from day one because you're a pro.
Right, exactly. So he hit the and Kamala, she hit the ground running. It's like, oh my God, these are grown ups. This is like going to a grown up company, not a startup company, established business.
And see, a lot of our small businesses, I want our small businesses to take notes on this, because when they are professional, they have expertise in their industry, and they know what they're doing. Any client who hires them, they can walk in and from day one start doing stuff. You see what I mean? They can make things happen from day one.
Exactly. So that's a lesson learned, right? A
Yeah,
lesson learned is that if you have the expertise and the knowledge, your business can be successful. It doesn't have a whole lot of. It doesn't have to have a whole lot of dollars,
yeah,
but it can actually function.
right,
You will have a system and a plan where you can make some money.
right,
Now, when you have none of that,
right.
then you'll see what we saw the last 4 years,
Exactly, exactly. And
which was just
that's why we're
terrible,
so
just
good at what
terrible.
we do. We're pros. We're good. I call us super consultants.
Yeah.
That's what we are. That's what
Yeah.
we are.
So how has your week been going?
Oh man, this week has been crazy busy. I've been doing a lot of certifications for small businesses. trying to get their business in order. Did a workshop for GLAC yesterday, and we've got about 13 small businesses that we're getting ready. And I put together a 5-prong readiness checklist. So we're going down that checklist and making sure that they have everything in place. So they have a deadline to submit their capability statement by Monday, and and then after that we're going to do the business model canvas, which is,
Okay.
we're going to cover the 9 areas of it. So it's great. Now
Oh,
we got one of our customary die-hard supporters here. So Mr. Alfred Foster, much respect to you, sir. Said, "Hey, Gilbert and Crystal, why aren't we in DC? Get this money."
'cause I'm sorry, Gil. I'm sorry, Alfred. I can't fly right now.
we,
I,
we,
I'm a chicken. I can't get on a plane.
we don't want those 776ers try to bomb us or kill us.
Yeah, no. And so here's the thing. I think that there probably was some scrimmages going on, but
Yeah,
I think what they probably did was kept it really quiet.
yeah, yeah,
So it was just best to stay at home
yeah, 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 yeah,
to be safe. That's how I feel about it. But I actually had wanted to go to the inauguration, but I was going to go to my cousin lives in DC,
yeah,
and so I was just going to go and hang out at his house.
yeah,
But when all that jumped off, and then on top of the fact that we're in a full-on surge
yeah.
for coronavirus, I just felt it was just best to stay at
Oh,
home.
for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it was good too, because it was very cold in DC. A lot of people were saying, "Oh man, this is so cold. I can't feel my fingers or my toes." So
Well, that's when I went to the inauguration in 2008, and it was absolutely the most incredible experience on the planet. But it was super, 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 super cold. It seems like on inauguration day,
yeah,
that's the coldest day that DC experiences for the whole entire time.
yeah, yeah,
I had on So I'm a skier, so I
yeah.
had on ski parkers. I had on long underwear. My long johns. I had on my hand warmers, my boot warmers,
You had
because
it all.
we were out from 7 in the morning to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, standing on the national in the National Mall,
Oh wow.
and
Oh wow.
I think that day it was 20 degrees, whereas
Wow.
this past Wednesday it was 34 degrees.
Water freezes at 32 degrees. So if you're at 20, you're way below freezing point.
Yeah, we were way below. It didn't rain, but it was way below. So,
Oh
but
yeah.
it was a great experience. But I think they did a phenomenal
Oh
job.
yes.
To
Oh
be quite
yes.
honest, I think they
To
did
me,
an
it's the best
awesome
one.
job
I think
on
it's the
the.
best one. What do you think? I think it's the best one they've had.
Say that again.
I think it's the best one they've had. The best inauguration.
I liked it.
Yeah, it was very good, very nice.
Yeah, I
That
liked it. Mm-hmm.
I think that little young girl, Amanda Gorman. I think she's a star, man. She's a superstar. The poet.
Oh, she's awesome. She Amanda, the poet. Oh my God, she was pretty awesome. Alfred wants to know: California is very well represented with the President Biden's cabinet. What does that mean for sourcing contracts?
Well, I would hope that means that they're going to make sure small businesses within the state of California really do get representation in a piece of the pie this time around, because I know we had representation before with Barbara Boxer and Kamala Harris, and there's Nancy Pelosi, but we really didn't get a lot of access. Now, there is a program called the MBDA, which is Minority Business Development Agency, which is run by the Department of Commerce. Well, the
Mhm.
former bogus, I mean the former president he decided to dismantle that program. So I'm hoping that Biden and the California representatives will bring it back. The MBDA, what it does, it provides grant and funding for small businesses in our area. So businesses can get up to, $50 to $100,000 in grants to help run their business through that program. So I'm hoping they bring that back, and so we can start getting help, some kind of aid to become sustainable.
Well,
Uh,
I think, Gilbert, that we have to. I think that we can't just hope that they're going to do it. I think we have to push our legislations to do it. I think we have to reach out to our to Karen Bass. I think we have to reach out individuals that have Alex Padello is there now. I
Padilla,
think we have to
Padilla.
reach out to them and make sure they're getting the message out.
So
You agree?
Alfred Foster, one of our viewers here, he said, "Do we have any foot soldiers on the ground over there?" So, well, we kind of do. Karen Bass is one of our representatives, and we can also reach out to Maxine Waters and make sure they start
Yes,
helping to represent us. So I think, though, in order for this to
I
happen, we got
completely
to do a
agree.
coalition, maybe through the chambers or the trade associations here, to reach out to them. Because if we try to do it individually, it's not going to work. We got to do it in a collaborative. Well,
I completely agree with you. So yeah, we got to push it from our side in order to make that happen.
yeah,
So I've been talking to some individuals, on our community briefing that has some insight to that. So, but we can't wait for them to do it. We have
right,
to do it.
right. So yeah, we
So
definitely
before we bring on our
go ahead, Crystal.
go ahead.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
I said before we bring on our wonderful guest who's going to talk about finance and the name he has a book called Finance Makes Sense, Striving to Win, and being that we're recovering, well, we will be recovering at some point, we hope, in the near future. We want to make sure that how do we survive past COVID, and how do we get back on our feet after going through this whole economic downturn, based upon the fact that jobs are gone and people are unemployed and businesses have been shuttered. And so it'll be refreshing to hear from a financial expert and professional on what should be some of the steps that we should put in place in order to get ourselves back on track. But before we bring him on, Gilbert, I want to share something with you. So, Recycling Black Dollars, the organization that I'm the co-director of, we're going to be launching our inaugural digital resource guide. We're really excited about it, and so I want to show it to the world. We are going to be looking for both businesses to be listed in the guide, and also we want consumers downloading the app. So here is the unveiling of our resource guide. Let me see. It's hold on, there we go. So this is going to be RBD's resource guide. Let me take this off for a minute. So isn't this beautiful?
Oh, very nice, very nice,
So
very
in that
very
box
nice.
right there, anything that's going on right now, we're celebrating the Los Angeles Urban League 100-year anniversary. So that box will change whenever there's something, whatever we're celebrating. And then in this box here will be deals. So the deals will be set up like the Groupon app. So how you get a message from Groupon saying they're the deals and that are going on this week. So this
Yeah,
will the deals will be any businesses, whether they're service based, whether they're product based, and they will be all listed there. The dining will be here, shopping here, and entertainment here. And then as we go down, more announcements for special stuff going on. And then down here, you'll be able to access businesses that are listed in the services, the community resources, business highlights, and then Hello Neighbor will be a blogging type environment. And then down here, discover who are the businesses in our community so that we can start supporting our Black businesses, so that we're really, really excited. So when you hear your business will be here, and you'll have a listing, and then it'll be a whole page of all the deals going on, workshops, classes, of anything, events going on. And so we want to just make sure everybody is listed in the business guide, the resource guide. This is a collaborative effort between Recycle Black Dollars and the Los Angeles Urban League. So we're super excited. I'm bringing on, we got a staff we're bringing on, and as well as we have individuals going out to sell our products and help sell the app. So anybody interested in selling any ads for Recycle Black Dollars, you will get a 20% referral fee. So we're really excited about it.
Alfred Foster said, "Now that's what I'm talking about. Show me the money." I like that.
So the whole idea, Gilbert, is you know how you've gone into a mall, yeah, and all of the stores are listed and they're, yeah, advertising and marketing the stores. Yeah. So, yeah, this is going to be one great big Black mall.
Right. And what's the link that they need to go to in order to register? Can you put it in the chat?
I will put it in the chat.
Yeah.
To register to be listed in the guide. So there's a free listing, complimentary listing for every Black business in the greater Los Angeles County area.
Yeah.
And then after that, if you want interactive links that will go directly to your website, to your social media, yeah, all you need to do is there's an upgrade of $65, so that's not going to break anybody. And then we also have a package right now to become a member of Recycling Black Dollars. You get a $200 membership with our organization, one annual membership, a quarter page ad, and as well as a directed interactive link to your social media and your website and wherever you want us to link to.
Well, so that means this weekend you should be having a lot of signups, because I'm gonna definitely sign up this weekend. So
we will be happy to have you, my friend.
Oh, definitely, definitely.
We want to make sure that people can't say, "I want to support a Black business, but I don't know where it is." We don't want to hear that anymore. We want people to know this is where you go. And it's not just Black dollars, anybody's dollars that want to spend money and make sure that our businesses are going to make some money. As Alfred says, show us the money. So with that, I'll put the link up there shortly before we get off the air. I am going to bring on our guest. Are we ready for him?
Oh, yeah. We've been ready since last week. So let's have
bring him on.
Guest.
Hello, Mr.
Hi, Crystal. Hi, Gilbert.
Hello. How are you? So let me tell you guys a little bit about Mr. Grace. He is he's a registered principal with the Security Exchange. He is the founder of a company called Investors Advantage Corporation. He's located in West Lake Village in California. He appears to be an expert based upon all the things that I've seen on him. He's a financial commentator for a number of news outlets, and his knowledge and his experience. He's an educator. He's a trainer. He really is about you taking your money and making it work for you, and using that money to help us survive, to thrive, and not just survive. So we want to welcome him, and he'll tell us a lot more about himself. But we are happy to have you, Mr. Grace. And he reached out to me on LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a nice little. I've had a lot of people reach out to me lately from LinkedIn. So, well, Mr. Grace, we're glad to have you.
Well, welcome to the Business Zone, sir.
Thank you both, Crystal, Gilbert. Good to be here. Happy New Year, and I agree. It started on Wednesday. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Before Wednesday was last year, and under a whole different administration, that door is closed. So let's start with the president. And by the way, in terms of getting back to Washington, here's what I wish we could have done.
Yeah.
And that is to get your listeners, our friends, our families, and fly back to Washington. I would love to have seen the inauguration, but here's what I really would have preferred to do. That would be wherever the Donald was when they were moving out at 8 o'clock in the morning, singing at the top of our lungs, song, Hit the Road, Jack by Ray Charles.
I love it. I love it.
That would be my highest man. That would have been so fast. I would have been hoarse, screaming at the top of my lungs, okay?
I love it.
Never mentioning his name. So, and that's you too, Melania. Okay, so
hit the road, Jack.
Right. No more. So, yeah, we are now providing. There's over 260,000 financial advisors in the country, best I can tell. And best I can tell, there's only one firm in the country, and it happens to be minority owned. It is my firm, Investors Advantage. I started it in 1979, where we're providing free financial planning services to all frontline workers. So we are been so impressed by these folks that don't have the ability to work from home, right? They're on the front line every day, putting their lives in great peril. And the folks tend to be women and minorities and millennials that have to show up and do what it is they do. So our way of saying thank you to these folks is to say, look, sit with us for 90 minutes, whether it's in office or on Zoom, and we'll help you put your own financial plan together. The cost, is best I can tell, nationally for putting together a plan is typically about $2,000 just to write the plan before you put the money to work. We'll do it at no charge for anyone who considers themselves an essential worker. And by the way, we can use this as an example because one of the couples that we started working with are making about $100,000. They're mid-30s. She's making about 60. He's making about 40. And the three components to a plan, in our opinion, start with how much money do you need to make work optional on your time frame, on the date of your choosing. Okay?
I like that.
Yeah, and see what many of us do, Gilbert, is we put the money somewhere, we cheer when it goes up, and we cry when it goes down, like it had something to do with our intelligence, and it didn't. But we don't see a target. So in their case, as I say, they want to duplicate $100,000 in 35 years. So we help them put the plan together so they can see, first and foremost, taking into account Social Security, taking into account any pensions. Their goal is now $2.6 million.
Wow.
Okay. But now at least they see the goal. I mean, like we were just talking about DC, we're going to leave LAX at this hour. We're going to arrive at DC on time safely. They know that their target is now $2.6 million. It's good to be able to see what you're trying to do. And now how do we get from here to there? Well, it means not buying expensive cars. It means setting aside 15% of their gross income. So on $100,000, that's $15,000 a year, roughly $1,300 a month. And to the extent that they make those kinds of contributions and get about a 7% annualized return, that would put them on track. That will put them on track for achieving their goal of 2.6 million.
Right. That's great.
And then we want to review annually to see if we need to make adjustments, because you might need to increase, you may need to move your date forwards or backwards. But let's see what we're doing here so that you can see what the odds are. So that's number one. What are you going to need behind door number one to make work optional in your terms? Number two is looking at the situation from the standpoint, you have two incomes. And by the way, notice I'm not saying you are both married. It has nothing to do with whether or not you're married. But if you have two people putting food on the table, you have four hands holding up a lot of stuff and a bunch of people to keep life as good as you might be able to maintain it. But if one of you goes to heaven, the survivor is dealing with a whole lot of trauma and a whole lot of drama when it comes to trying to keep this thing afloat. So the second piece is looking at it from the standpoint of, we want you to see what happens for you to be financially independent, but what happens if you don't have enough time to achieve that goal? So she needs his $40,000, all of it, which means she needs to put $1 million on his life today, using a 4% withdrawal. 4% of $1 million would be 40,000. Now she can look at him and go, I might miss you, but I'm not going to miss your money, honey.
Right.
Okay? I'm cool with that. But the other side of the equation is he needs all of the 60 that he's used to her bringing home. So that means that in today's dollars, he needs like $1,250,000 worth of life insurance today.
Yeah.
And if she dies, he's able to not miss her money, because all he has to do is present the death certificate, get that check for 1.2, put it to work where it's maybe getting 6 or 7% as a return, but 4% as a withdrawal. Now he knows I won't be short. Okay, I'll have the equivalent of what she used to work for. I can keep life the way it was. And then the last piece of the puzzle, when we have children, and many of us do, now the question becomes, how can we put together a financial plan so that the parents and the kids can cry upon graduation, not just because you successfully crossed the stage in the graduation, but because nobody was left holding any debt for the rest of your life that is like a huge cross to bear, because it feels like you just can't do anything.
You know what, Mr. Graves? I've heard this presentation many times, many years, but I've never heard it as succinct and so basic and understandable the way you presented it, man. We had a guest on, I think probably 4 or 5 shows ago here. They're doing financial planning. And that was one of the things that I said to them. I said, listen, minorities really don't want to hear about financial planning because it doesn't sound like something that benefits them. But
Right.
the way you present it, oh man, that's amazing. I love it.
Well, I appreciate your comments, Gilbert. I really do. And I will tell you how I got here is, first and foremost, I was a best man in a Jewish wedding. The groom's father is the one who became my mentor and thought I would be good in the business. And, when you look at the complexion of the industry, you kind of go, wow, did I make a mistake? Am I in the right place? And then, this says a lot about me. Then you wonder, geez, what would I need to do to be as good? And then I discovered, Gilbert, that I was asking a bad question. And
Yeah.
this is important. Asking, what does it take to be good enough, suggests what? You don't believe you're good enough. That's a bad question, and the real reason it's a bad question, because we already know the answers to the question.
Yes.
Let me go down the list. Here's why. Okay, stupid. So I finally looked in the mirror and said, that's a dumb question. You need a better question. So I came up with a better question. And that was, what's average, and can you do better than average?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Yes, I can figure that out.
Yeah.
I can see how most of us do it. And then, by the way, seeing as I've only been doing this since 1979, there have been times where I have said to people, yeah, you know what? That's how the profession usually does it. And I can't do it that way. So let me apologize for my peers, because I can.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. This is amazing. Crystal, did you have a question? Crystal, can you hear?
Question, Crystal?
I actually, he's absolutely right. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Right now, the way John is talking, a lot of people have lost a lot of money.
Important for people, and the other thing that we fall prey to, Gilbert, is husband and wives or people living together will say, well, I've got $500,000, she's got $500,000, we're worth more dead than alive. Let's do the math.
Yeah.
If you're used to $50,000 a year and you got a check for $500,000, if you need $50,000 a year, how long would $500,000 last you?
Exactly.
10 years?
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're going to try to live off the interest, 4% on 50,000 is, let's see, is that what, $2,000 a year?
Mm-hmm.
You're used to 50 and now you're supposed to adjust down to
To
2,000.
2,000.
It's not going to work.
No, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I as I say, making it very simple. If it's 80,000, and by the way, this is important too, because I think there are going to be a lot of families that are going to be disrupted. This COVID thing's going to cause what I see happening in Wuhan, a lot of disruption, families coming apart. I suspect that's going to happen here.
Yeah.
So where we have seen so many of our people get lost is, oh, I'm going through a divorce and he's going to pay for this and he's going to pay for that, and
Yeah.
I'm going to make sure. Okay, so you're used to $80,000 a year.
Yeah.
And what door did you leave open? You left open the back door. Because
Exactly.
you get your first check for the year of 80,000, then he dies the first day of the next year. What do you have? Nothing.
Nothing.
So you, whoever that might be, either partner, I need $2 million on you.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, and I need to be the beneficiary and the owner of the policy. So I'm in control of it. I know what's happening to it.
Yeah.
I don't have to believe that you made these premium payments, which you may have blown off 6 years ago.
Right.
A death certificate, get a check for $2 million, put it to work at 6-7%, have a withdrawal of 4% of $2 million is 80,000. Now I can miss your money. I'm sorry, I won't be missing your money, and I won't be missing you either.
See, that's amazing, because I think that's what we wanted to hear all these years, and no one is presenting it that way to us.
No.
So then we become disinterested as soon as, financial person starts speaking, we tune
That's
out.
for rich people. That's not
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
That's for rich people. No, and that's why I feel like I'm in the right spot, because to me it's for everybody who
Yeah.
wants to partake.
Mm-hmm.
And let me say this, speaking of partake, I do have a book. I think you guys have a copy. I just finished last year, Making Finance Make Sense.
Yeah.
It's available at Amazon and on eBay. And by the way, it's only $15 or $16.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm not getting rich off the book. Okay.
That's a good price.
Well, and it's about 100 pages, so you won't get lost in it.
Yeah.
But for your audience, while we're here, Gilbert,
Yes.
if any of them would like to provide you with their email address,
Yes.
I can make the book as a gift to them through Amazon.
Right.
Amazon will send them a notice saying, here's the book. It's yours. Enjoy. And by the way, I'm also, one of the reasons I will do this, because I think it might be helpful, and I hope people use it. But here's also the other reason. You're not afraid, I can tell, of setting goals and achieving them.
Right.
When you write a book, you go, oh, great, I got my goal. And then you wake up the next morning, you go, you're not done. Now you have to get on the bestsellers list. So,
right.
so I'm asking for help for people to put comments at eBay and Amazon that this was useful, good, useful information.
I like that.
Something so that I can maybe reach my goal this year of putting the book on the bestsellers.
Yeah. I love that. I love that idea. And again, like I say, I've never heard of anyone present it the way that you do, because even with the book, people say, oh, go to Amazon and buy my book, but they never said it the way you just did. Where even if you're going to gift it to them, you'd still like them to go there and make comments. Because most people, when they're gifting a book, they say, okay, go to my website and, I can give it to you for free. But they never routed them through Amazon so that it counts.
Yes. Yes. And by the way, we have a QR code in the book so that the people who are do-it-yourselfers can do those two pieces to the puzzle that we talked about.
Yeah.
Looking at how much money you're going to need to become financially independent.
Yeah.
You can do it through the QR code without hiring anybody. And also, to the extent, as I say, that there are two people in a given household, what kind of insurance do each of them need in the event the other one were to predecease you?
Right. I love it. And I think the way you approach it, where people say, I don't need insurance, I don't need this, I don't need that, you ask certain questions that make them think about why it's necessary.
Or why maybe it's not necessary. Okay?
Yeah.
People say, well, should I have insurance on my kids? And I'm like, well, are you dependent upon them for any income?
Right.
Maybe not.
Yeah. I love it.
However, they're very dependent on you
Yeah.
for a lot of income.
Yes.
Different story. So certainly optional as far as they're concerned. It's required as far as you're concerned.
Yes, yes. I love it, man. I love it. This is great. This is making me feel so good. Now, do you have any videos on this, your approach, your presentation?
There's a lot of material posted on our site. Why be poor? Tried to make that
Uh-huh.
simple too. Why, the word why,
Yeah.
B as in boy, and
So
E,
it's why the uh-huh.
WHYBEPOOR.com.
All right.
Try to make it simple, something that people can remember, not complicated.
Yeah.
A little provocative. Who wants to be poor? I don't. Me either. Okay. So there's a lot of interviews that are posted there, both TV and radio. I do write for the Wave publications, by the way.
Uh-huh.
So and then we're starting to post those the articles that I write for the Wave. In fact, the last one I wrote that just, in fact, it should have come out yesterday. It's titled "The Chinese Are Coming."
Oh.
So what I'm trying to say is that as we're studying our navels and arguing about a whole lot of not that important stuff, I mean, check this out. Can you imagine a country that has a 5-year plan that they've completed 14 times in a row?
Wow.
Wow.
That's
Wow.
not us.
No, it's not us at all.
That's not us.
Definitely not us.
Wow.
No, that is China. All right.
Yeah.
And whether they manufactured this virus of epic proportions in terms of how disastrous it is,
Yeah.
they're coming out of it faster than we are.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And at the rate that they're coming out of it, I mean, you may remember back in the late 80s, many of us were convinced that Japan was going to be number one in gross domestic product. That did not happen. Real quickly, I will say that, in my opinion, is because Japan did not benefit from a baby boom generation like the U.S. did, nor did they benefit from any immigration at all where the U.S. did. So that 1-2 punch brought us 76 million people into this thing called this equation. And it wasn't American exceptionalism. It was, servicemen coming home, and we call that pent up demand. So they were happy to see mom, and here come the kids. Okay, so that's how that happened. But while we've been arguing and spitting on each other and throwing each other under the bus, these folks have conquered, it appears, in a realistic way, not only the virus, but they've been advancing their cause. So it now looks like they will become number one. This is China now, will become number one in gross domestic product in 2028, 5 years sooner than we thought just a year or two ago.
Wow. That's amazing.
And
That's
even though that they've gone through COVID as just like we have.
Yes. See, I mean, I just came across. This was off of Bloomberg at about 6 o'clock yesterday morning, and, and the summary I got was: had we locked down like China did with Wuhan 2 weeks earlier, we would have fewer deaths by about 84%.
Wow.
So while we're arguing about, a mask is a political statement, stop it. Do you want to live?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. When this thing starts, when we first heard about this in, say, January, February of last year, immediately China and South Korea, went into like lockdown mode. And they start coming up with strategies as to how to overcome this. And if you notice, the number of infected people were less in those areas.
Right.
Much less.
Right. They were on the ball. They weren't getting to the ball. They weren't on the ball. They didn't make believe the ball's just going to disappear magically.
Yeah.
I mean, and to your point, this is Thailand. This is like December 29th, 2019.
Yeah.
And the way I get it is they looked at what was happening in Wuhan.
Yeah.
They reached out to China, and by the way, the two countries are not friendly, but their people, their borders are pretty porous, so they go
Right.
back and forth between the two countries, and they're only 80 miles apart.
Yeah.
So what I understand, Thailand reached out to China, did not like the answer they got regarding what's going on with this virus we're hearing about.
Yeah.
And then Thailand reached out to the World Health Organization, didn't like their answer either.
Right.
Notice what they did not do. They didn't blame anybody. They didn't point any fingers. They didn't
Right.
get mad.
They
Okay.
came up with solutions.
They came up with solutions, and the first solution, Gilbert, was okay. Look at all the flights coming in from Wuhan.
Yes.
We will stop every passenger on that plane. We will begin testing tomorrow. 100%. Period. End of story.
Yes. Yes.
Now that's playing ball.
Yeah. And see, that's what they did. They also start monitoring the hospitals, looking at their parking lots, looking at the number of activity in the parking lots, the number of registration signups to see, okay, what's going on and what do we need to
lot
do?
more being an authoritarian government. But my real point is Thailand's not well, I guess it's a dictator or king. But
Yeah.
my real point is at the national level, there should be a viable plan as
Yeah.
opposed to telling the states to go compete for the equipment. I
Yeah.
mean, you know,
That's
or I was
ridiculous.
talking to some friends of mine just this morning, and
Yeah.
they're telling me about how many people from California are driving over to Phoenix to go to the ball games.
Right. Right.
Right, exactly. And you know, it was kind of interesting. I saw a video on it was done. Wuhan did some additional studying, and they realized the very first person, the man that actually contracted coronavirus with his wife, he had gone to a restaurant or to a I think they went to a Bible or church type of event, and so the tables that were in line, they were at a restaurant, and the three tables that were in line with each other, they were, you know, a span of about 14 feet, and then it was 10 people around. They were sitting underneath an air conditioning duct.
Oh, ventilation.
And so the ventilation circled around those three tables. The other tables on the opposite side of them, they didn't test positive. It was just that line. So then it says, okay, now I'm going to get on a plane with contained air that's circulating back and forth around a plane.
Yeah.
In a closed-in, high-compression cabinet. No,
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that. Not after I saw that video. That made no sense to me, because it made sense when they talk about, you know, they really narrowed it down to exactly how it was spreading, because it was moving the spittle around, you know, your speaking and your voices and the spittle that was coming out, moving it around those tables. So all three of those tables were tested positive.
Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think
so that makes sense that the spread.
Yeah. So I think in you know in line with that plan, the 5-year plan that you're talking about, Mr. Grace, it was really something that we all need to be doing. We need to put a plan in place,
Yes.
and implement those plans with a desired outcome.
Well, that's it. I love what you just said, because my conclusion of the article was two suggestions: short-term and long-term.
Yeah.
What should we do now? What should we do later? And
Yeah.
what I said was, what should we do now? Well, we got to add a W to the watch, watch your distance, wash your hands, wear a mask, and add one more W. Wait for a large group. Wait. Don't rush to do that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's short term. Second, long term is notice China did just finish their 5-year plan.
Yeah.
When are you going to start yours? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, let's understand this. Not that long ago, we were talking with our children, you know, and relatives about how you have to be prepared to compete with people across the country. Well, now you have to be prepared to compete with people from around the world.
Yeah.
And they want what you take for granted.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you want your kids to really be competitive, here's the 1-2 punch I have for you. Make sure, do not let them tell you, oh, two years of a foreign language is too hard. Stop it.
Yeah.
Okay? The highest income group in America happens to be Asian Americans.
Yeah.
And when people say, well, why do you think that is? I said I think that is because we all should have spent more time in math and science classes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so if you want to give your kids a competitive advantage, have them learn Spanish and Mandarin, because then your footprint in terms of where you can go to apply for a job is really just about the whole world.
I totally agree. I totally agree. And I've been hearing this since I've been in high school, and I never took it seriously. I mean, I goofed around in Spanish class. Then I found myself in a Spanish country for like 9 months where I didn't know how to speak the language. Then I start kicking myself. You know?
Right. Well, and that's really the key, I think, to immerse yourself in a foreign country.
Yeah.
Where's the bathroom? You got to learn.
I'm telling you, I learned the hard way because I went to a store trying to buy some milk. I didn't know how to say milk in Spanish. So.
Leche, you didn't know how to say leche, man.
I'm saying milk, and they're looking at me funny like, "Cat? Can I have some milk?" They're going, "Cat." And then they start laughing at me. Like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, the world is changing. I mean, Janet Yellen said that just Wednesday, and she's right. So let's recognize that look, we're all part of the same planet.
Yeah.
And when we talk about America first, that's stupid. Let's recognize that we're all drinking the same water.
Yeah.
Breathing the same air, and a minute ago, right, we were flying the same airplanes. So we're all in this together, and I think that's a healthier way for us to recognize how we are interconnected, as opposed to we're first, you're last, F you, and let's put it into perspective this way. No matter which team you are rooting for, whatever the game might be, as soon as your team becomes number one in that league, what do the rest of the teams do to you?
They put a target on your back.
Yes, they do. They do.
They put a target on your back, and they're coming for you.
Coming for you from all directions. You cannot stay there. So I would submit, in terms of the world, instead of talking about America first, which I think, as I say, I think it's stupid, but I think it pisses off a whole lot of people. If you're playing any kind of a game, if you've got 5 or 6 strong offensive players, or 5 or 6 countries that are working to pass the ball back and forth to advance the cause that they agree is important, then you're making some progress in a very fundamental way, and it can be beneficial to everybody, as opposed to I win, you lose.
So go ahead, Crystal.
I think when we look at it, very specifically to the African American community, by 2030, they're saying that there's going to be like 4.5 million jobs lost in our own communities, but we're not prepared, right? So just what John said, we don't speak another language. We actually live in communities with Hispanic, with Latino people, and we don't learn their language. They don't learn, and we can't communicate with the world because we haven't left our own small little neighborhoods. So we don't even know what the world looks like.
We're not focused on math or science either, and those are key. Those are key, because if you're an architect, you're building highway and roads, math is important.
Well, I love what all our parents probably told us all the same thing. You make your habits, and your habits make you.
There you go.
The affluent people, I mean, we're very blessed. We work with people, family might be $30,000, $40,000 a year. We work with people where it's $4 million a year. So we see a lot of patterns. But what I'm trying to say is the people who have the higher income patterns, they're not afraid to use a 4-letter word called math. They're not afraid to talk about something called budget. And they're not afraid to look at history. We tend to be afraid of all three. I suggest that leaves us in a losing proposition. And that's an inside job. Just like what's happening on January 6th. That was an inside job. Right? That wasn't people from Afghanistan going crazy. And that was us.
It was an inside job.
It was
an inside job. And I think you're absolutely right. And I think that inside job has to take care of here, right? So for us as Americans, and this at this point is not even specific to ethnicities. after what we've experienced from COVID, from coronavirus, this applies to everybody. We were not ready from a financial standpoint, in order to be able to maintain ourselves for what have we been at this, like 11 months, almost a year. It'll be a year in March.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a year, but notice some countries, it's been a year for some countries.
Yeah.
It's been 9 months for this one because we didn't wake up and look outside of our little box and see what's really going on here.
Yeah.
And that's called complacency. And by the way, one of the epidemiologists said the problem with people who are optimistic is that it breeds complacency.
Yeah.
Breed complacency, that means you kind of become like Rip Van Winkle and you just go to sleep. And then you wake up and go, oh my goodness, everything's changed. Yes, it did, because you went to sleep.
Right.
That's the biggest challenge to success, complacency. Biggest challenge.
Complacency. Now, Gilbert, I actually think that maybe this 4 years with Trump, I always like to look, John, for silver linings, right? So one of the things, there's about 5 things that we have learned from this experience. One, we can't be complacent. We have to be involved. We have to be proactive, right? We have to speak our mind and speak up and speak out. We have to educate ourselves. And we cannot stick our head in the ground and think that it's all gonna come back. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. We can't think like that.
No.
Yeah, I wish one of the things we would do as a country is sit down and have, at a round table and have a real robust dialogue about what qualifications do we require of our leaders.
Right.
Is it enough to be, 25 and a U.S. citizen? Is that enough to be president? I mean, should we require the candidates to put their tax returns on the table?
Oh, yeah.
Have a conversation about let's prioritize what's important around here. I mean, notice the Chinese are willing to spend, I don't know how long to put together a 5-year plan, but they did it 14 times in a row. So clearly, if you have the intention and the vision and the, everybody signed up for, this is the job we're going to do. Now let's go get it done.
Right.
You might have something here. But if it's catch can, and or if it's all the R's versus the D's, the reds versus the blues, come on, let's see what we have in common.
See, one of the things that we learn about this whole process, the whole COVID and the whole democracy process, is that we need to check the structure of the integrity for its fortitude to see how solid it is on a regular basis. We got to test it. We got to throw a test and make sure we see weaknesses. That's why we do SWOT analyses, right? To see where strengths and weaknesses lie.
Are you being so obnoxious to suggest that we check for strength and weaknesses regardless of skin color? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we're saying.
Oh, okay. In one group, we had the wall up, but in another group, we said, hey, come on in.
Exactly.
Take down the American flag, put up the Trump flag. Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Because that's what they did. They took democracy for granted because they're thinking, no one has really tested it before, so no one is going to test it. And we had this person and his little cronies decide to test it. And we were this close to total destruction.
Experiment not working out so well.
Yeah.
But here's the good news. Our judicial system held up and the law enforcement system held up. And here's the real beauty. I mean, most people didn't go this far, but let's recognize, as I say, if I were to run a red light on the way home, I will not be taking a picture myself. They didn't wear a mask. Would have been a good idea to do that on the 6th, I think, not because of COVID, but because you don't want to show up everywhere, do you? Hey, here I am. Yeah, here we're coming for you too. And now that we've been caught and you've been convicted, guess what happens next? You can't vote.
Yeah.
For the rest of your life.
Yeah.
I'm really okay with that.
That's what I'm talking about.
Exactly. And even if we go back 5 years ago, John, you would never hire a financial advisor to come into your office that had bankrupt 5 times or 5 businesses or 6 businesses.
Exactly.
You wouldn't even once you 2 bankruptcies, you would be going, no, I'm sorry.
Even with one, they're gonna
I'm a little
question
suspect, unless you can tell me what you've learned, and that might be even more valuable.
it.
But here's where I think the whole problem started, and maybe you didn't see this, but I did. Every time I say it, I feel like I made it up. But this was a camera crew at the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. I think it was like 2015. And,
Okay.
and the first part of the story was how the museum had to remove the Donald's. And understand, I'm over 6 foot. He's over 6 foot. His middle name is my first name. Okay, so we have some things in common. That's kind of scary. Here's what we don't have in common. So apparently they had to remove his figurine because it was being defaced, but his hands are in clay on the wall. So they asked a 13-year-old, not 6'3", not 240, would you mind putting your hands on those hands on the wall? And the 13-year-old, in a deeper voice, goes, wow, my hands are bigger than his.
Oh, wow. My years ago, so being a female, right? When you're dating, there's certain things women talk about, and there's like certain things that you go, okay, small hands, no, small ears, no.
See, I didn't know those secrets, John. I'm just being exposed to some secrets here, John.
Well, and I'll tell you, I never really paid attention to the Donald's hands. But after I saw that, I said, okay, next time you see him, you've got to make sure you pay attention. And the first thing I'd look at his pants, he's got small, pudgy hands, and he's 6'3". You can't give him no Napoleon pass.
Exactly. All of those are telltale signs that there's some issues.
My crowd's bigger than your crowd.
This is hilarious. I love it.
And then you come to find out that he's not really 6'3", that he wears lifts in his shoes. Then you're like, oh.
Well, that's not the way. Here's what I understood. With his first White House doctor, he was 6'3". But with the last one, I don't know if it was the lifts, but for some reason, he grew to 6'4" at 74, 75.
When you should be declining.
That the part of the magic was, if he's an inch taller, then we can declare that he's slightly obese for his height.
Right.
Okay. All right. Let me reflect on that. That doesn't work.
Doesn't work. So, John, do you have any videos that you teach in your workshops, or to help individuals, families, minorities to really get a hold of their financial positions in life?
Not by video. I mean, Crystal, this might be something with Urban League or something. I mean, I do classes, and if you guys want to put one together and invite your audience, we can do one with your audience at some point in time.
Yeah.
We can make.
Oh, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
Because it is. Look, we had to have the conversation, right, about the birds and the bees, and about how to manage or live with the police. But we need to have a conversation about your money.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's something we do not talk about.
Right.
And like you were saying, Gilbert,
Yes.
I think we tend to we take complicated issues and look for simple answers. Oh, that's too hard. I'm not rich. It's not for me. Well, you just missed the boat.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And the thing is, one of the things that people don't recognize is if you use time to your advantage, like the couple that we talked about, the 35-year-old, this is $1,300 a month today. If they wait 10 years, and then it's in the 40s, and most people seem to wake up, and that's when they start getting serious about their financial planning. That number may need to double.
Right.
$1,500 sounds like a lot. How does $2,600 to $3,000 sound like to you to make it optional when you want to? But my point is, the earlier we learn, we make some good habits. Our habits make us, and get people just to start with $50 a month, $100 a month. Start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Even last year, that was an extraordinary year. We had a 34%, 35% loss first quarter, and the S&P 500 finished 2020 up 16%.
Yes.
I mean,
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
make it simple. 100,000 plus 16,000 that you
Yeah.
put in the account is
Yeah.
yours.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Now,
Yeah.
one of our listeners, Alfred Foster, he's making a statement here. He said that part of what made the Chinese business do great was their relationship with Africa, and that is drastically rapidly being challenged. Most of African leaders, because of the virus, they want the Chinese out of their country, so they're looking to do business with others. So they're saying, how he's saying, how can we put something together to foster growth and relationship with the African nation instead of having the Chinese be solely responsible for African growth.
Yeah, well, it's a good observation, and it's a good question, and just understand that the Chinese they're determined to be number one, and I'm just saying it's going to
Yeah.
happen, like it or
Yeah.
not. Okay, and let's also understand we like to believe and tell each other we play by the rules. We all know that's maybe
Mm-mm.
truth some of the time, but not all
Yeah.
the time. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean they have their own system in terms of
Yeah.
what's right and what's wrong. And
Yeah.
and I mean if you know me to be just a routine liar, do you think you're going to change my behavior? So
No.
it's interesting that we think we're going to change the China's behavior.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be successful with that.
Right.
So as
Right.
we say, I mean, I don't know exactly what to say about how to do this, but it just seems like having the notion or the goal that we need to work with other countries to advance the gains that we all want to enjoy.
Right.
To the extent that we can do that, and then let's make sure we stay at the table
Yeah.
because I mean, once they show up, they don't tend to back away.
Yeah.
We show up with this administration, we're all in. And I mean, how can I trust you? Your administration was good 2 weeks ago. Now I got a new bunch of people, and they don't like anything we had to say. So
Yeah.
why should
Yeah.
I try to trust you when you
Right.
guys you left the table?
Right.
Right.
Well,
Exactly.
the one thing I notice, and
Yeah.
as someone from the Caribbean, I
Okay.
can tell you this, that the Chinese, they operate outside of the box
Right.
because like you mentioned earlier, who's gonna have the target on their back? The
Right.
champion, the leader, the
Yeah.
person who, is a forerunner, right? So the US has had a target on their back for many, many years. So many nations wanted to take them down, target them, whatever. So the Chinese, they try to figure out an alternative. Their alternative is to go to target African nations, Caribbean nations with black people and try to do business with them.
Right.
Now they're rebuilding Jamaica right now and many of the other Caribbean nations because the U.S. through the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, they used to kill small countries. They give us loans at 23% that we couldn't pay back.
Right.
So the Chinese figured out a way to come in, and instead of doing that 23%, what they do is they say, okay, we're going to rebuild your nation, but we want a piece of it. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they're doing in Africa and many of the Caribbean nations right now. So it's like, we're running from the devil over here.
Right.
We're running into his twin brother on the other side.
Right, exactly. And I think especially African Americans, knowing that we can do business outside of our own country, especially if we're not wanted in our own country that we reside in, knowing that there's a big world. And one of the things that we all have had to pivot is to an online environment to do business. So there is no excuses why we can't do business in Africa.
Right.
None at all.
No,
Right.
no, we can
Right.
do anything we put our minds to.
Yeah.
Exactly.
John, I think what you offer, John, I think would be a great asset, not only to the U.S., but also to Caribbean nations and African nations.
Well, it's these are things, that's why I say we need to talk about it because it's doable.
Yeah.
And it's fun. And
Yeah.
you get to play a different kind of game, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And clearly you got to play, every other game you find out what the rules are, you find out who the ref is, and you're ready to play the game. And notice, I mean, who do we just lose? Hank Aaron today? Notice there's some games that we weren't supposed to play. And in fact, did he take a lot of flack for having the unmitigated gall to believe that he could have more home runs than
Oh yeah.
Okay, right?
Oh yeah.
But he did
Babe
it
Ruth,
anyway,
yeah.
and maybe
Yeah.
that inspired him even more. So
Yeah.
yeah, whether it's through the Urban League, the chambers, yeah, if I can be
Recycling black
helpful,
dollars. Yeah.
yeah,
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 we definitely can set something up. I think because that's one of our biggest things. Gilbert and I both do coaching for small businesses, and I will tell you that and I teach the core of mine is accounting and bookkeeping. So I'm
mhm,
actually in everybody's books, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
no one has a full understanding. I call it business financial literacy. We're always talking about financial literacy from a personal side,
right,
and that's important. But doing business from a financial standpoint and a financial mindset is different. And you
Yeah.
need to understand the language. You need to
Yeah.
understand the acumen that goes along with that. And so that's an area that our businesses don't get. Our businesses don't know. I need to know how to scale up from the very first day I come up with the idea that I have a business.
Yeah.
What's going to be the future plan?
Yeah.
How am I going to grow the plan?
Yeah.
I'm not going to make, I find it so interesting. During coronavirus, I was doing consulting for the Urban League, and we were doing mini grants. And I'm listening, and people are asking, what were your annual income for 2019? Well, 2019 was not 2020, it was 2019. I mean, the amount of money was so small. I mean, they weren't even making what you would make if you worked for an employer. If you work for a company, at least make what 50, 60, 70, $100,000, because that's what you would be making if you work for somebody today,
So,
right?
so
Their, their annual revenues were.
they were indentured servants, right?
well, and
Yeah, they were indentured servants.
from the Caribbean, he knows a little something about that, don't you, Gilbert? So, to your point, two things I want to say. But one of the first things we can help each other do, and then hold each other responsible. I'm going to ask you, are you doing what you said you were going to do? Please ask me. Start today with this paycheck by putting aside no less than 10% off the top before
Yeah.
tax.
Yeah.
Pay yourself first. If
Yeah.
you wait till the end of the month, it's too much month at the end of the money. Now you're talking, well, I'll catch up next year. It's
Yeah.
not going to happen. As I
Yeah.
say, make it $50, make it 10%. But you probably need to be no less than 15% of your gross income.
Yeah.
And if you let a lot of time elapse, it might be 20 to 30% of your gross monthly income.
Yeah.
So get started now so the number doesn't get any bigger. To the point about the companies, one of the things that I'm sure you both know California has done is implemented a schedule by which employers with no fewer than five employees have to set up a pension plan like a 401k, or you will have to accept the one that the state has for you. Now, there are a lot of options in terms of what you can do here, but
Yeah.
the folks who didn't inherit money and the ones that didn't win the lottery, many of them became financially successful because they used the company-sponsored retirement plan where the company might match, but don't just take the match and go, okay, they gave me 5%, so that's all I'm gonna
Yeah.
do. Are you more important than, are they, who's more important here? Who's number one in your book? You or
Right.
someone? So
That's
you
you.
give 10%, let
Yeah.
them give you your 5%, but don't just accept the 5. It's not enough.
Yeah.
It's not enough.
Yeah.
Social Security is not enough.
Right. Right.
Oh, and speaking of Social Security, please pay attention to your Social Security benefits. Visit ssa.gov once a year. Make sure that you identify yourself. You have to ask us a bunch of questions. It's kind of tough the first time around, but then you can go there every year. And what are you looking for? You want to make sure the government is giving you the credit for all of the income that you are earning, because that's how your benefits are derived. But if you go to sleep, Rip Van Winkle, for 5 years and you miss this income and you don't get it corrected, well, you're going to miss that money. And then lastly, for Social Security, look to see when you are eligible, but don't just look at that number, because so many of us go, oh, I'm eligible at 62. I'm taking it. I don't know how long I'm going to live. I like to say it this way. If you really believe you don't have longevity on your side, maybe you want to take Social Security as early as possible. But let me ask you this. Do you know of anything where each year you delay starting the income, there's an 8% increase to your benefit. Do you know of anything that does that? That's what Social Security does. I don't know of anything else that does that other than Social Security.
And I think most people don't know that.
They don't know that. That's why I'm trying to, let's put this on the table, because if you're so busy looking at how soon can I get how much, like I say, if you're going to die soon, start now, and God bless you.
Yeah.
On your side, you might want to pace yourself, because you can start at any year from 62 or 67 up till 70. The benefit increase stops at 70, so no reason to wait till then. But an 8% increase to your bottom line can make a big difference. And if you could work a little bit longer so that you have the income from the source of the fruit of your labor, and now build up your Social Security benefits because you think you have longevity on your side, it's a huge increase. And I think it's kind of a fun goal to go, geez, I get started next year, but this year I just got an 8% increase. That's pretty cool.
Right,
John,
that's
we're
awesome.
definitely going to have to bring you back, because their knowledge is really, really valuable and needed.
Well,
I love the fact.
I'm happy to come back, and I'll tell you what we can talk about if you'd like next time around. And it's something I call the real fate of real estate.
Actually, I would love to do a workshop, a webinar with my network and some of my other followers. I think that would be excellent, because this is an area that we don't have those conversations. So let's talk about that offline. We can put together a Zoom. I have a pretty big following. I also noticed when I was reading your bio, you do something for the junior achievement. Are you one of the consultants that do?
I was typically their keynote speaker to talk to kids about how they could learn from the Depression, and to talk to them about how important it is to start setting aside money as early as you possibly can. Try to plant seeds. So.
I teach kids how to be entrepreneurs. We have a program with the Urban League. We do a summer biz camp for this year 35 kids, but usually it's a total of 50 kids, but we did it virtual. And then those kids create a business plan and concept. They compete for a grand prize. And then we've extended it now to a year-long program called Biz Institute. So I teach kids twice a month, and they're building their business idea so that we can actually get it launched. And then they're going to compete in competition. So they're going to be competing in a competition in May for $2,500, and we're competing against 11 other organizations. So I would love for you to come out on and it's virtual right now. We're on a Saturday and talk to our kids. We have about 14 kids that are just phenomenal in our year-long program, and then we have 50 kids in the summertime.
I love it. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, would be awesome. Well, wow, thank you so much. It's been incredible. We've learned a lot, and just when it comes to talking about finances, people don't have the conversation enough, and they don't understand what they need to do, and a lot of them are fearful. And then, of course, when catastrophe strikes, now what do we say? What do we do, and how do we go from here? And now, when we're looking at, the old adage is, do you have your 6-month emergency fund? Now that 6-month emergency fund has gone to, do you have your 2-year or 3-year emergency fund?
Well, unfortunately, and this is national average, and I suspect it would be different for minority groups. But if I'm not mistaken, 40-50% of us can't put our hands on $400 to $500 if an emergency took place today.
That's true. That's very true. That's very true.
So we've got to do a better job of recognizing. Don't spend, baby, spend. Okay. Your credit. No, stop it. Stop it now, and put a limit on the spending by saving for yourself first. Save 15%, spend 85%. Start today, okay? Because it's not going to get any easier. But as I say, it is very satisfying to see accounts build up. I was looking at, I had to text my son just after the first of the year. I said, do you realize that your account's up nearly almost 50% from your birthday of, let's see, that was 2018? I mean, this is pretty good. Everybody can't say that, but if you hadn't put the money there, that
Yeah.
wouldn't have happened. By the way, increase your contributions.
That's right.
Now, increase your contributions, son.
Yeah, I hear you, man.
That's
Well, we
awesome.
want to thank you so much, Mr. Grace. This has been wonderful and educational. We don't want to let you go, but the clock is saying we got to go.
So that
So,
means we got to bring him back, Gilbert. At some point, we
yeah,
have to bring him back so
got
that
to
he
bring
can
you back.
come back
Happy to
and
come back. In the meantime, every Friday is a Good Friday, according to me, John Grace. So happy Good Friday to you and all of your listeners.
Thank you
oh,
so
thank you
much.
so
Really
much. So we're
appreciate
gonna.
that.
All right, Mr. Gilbert. Anything going on with you next week that anybody should
Well,
know about?
Well, I think on Monday or Tuesday, I wasn't quite sure. I was just sending some emails to the Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center to confirm, but they want me to teach some classes on SmallBizPro, our business management and back office platform for small businesses to help them to become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. So that's either going to be Monday or Tuesday. So I need to get the date and time, and so I can email it out to everyone. So that's what's coming up. And I think I'm going to be doing some videos for GLACs to teach their participants how to apply for certification, minority and women-owned certifications, and also how to set up their back office. So that's what's
Oh,
coming up.
all righty. And I also have a workshop on the 26th on Tuesday with Vermont Slauson on 60 days to bankable.
Oh,
There's a
that's
new
great.
Yeah, there's a new product coming out that they're getting people ready for. I actually did 60 days to bankable last Wednesday, and now they wanted a condensed version. I'm sharing the platform with someone else, so they want us to repeat that. And then right behind that, on February 4th, I'm teaching Introduction to Accounting Software.
Mm-hmm.
So I will be doing that. And then Gilbert, we got to get you on board for a certification class. RBD has to do we have to do something for Edison. And
Yeah,
then in April, we want to do a conference
yeah,
on the utilities conferences for
perfect.
the certification. So we got some great stuff coming up, everyone. So stay tuned. All of our organizations got education and technical assistance is at abundance, and all of it is free. So
Yeah,
there is no excuse right now to increase your knowledge base, because all of the organizations have something going on. So go to Vermont Slauson. There are workshops there. I also teach workshop classes at the new Women's Business Center. Gilbert, you're over at GLAC.
mm-hmm.
So there's tons of stuff. The Urban League has workshops and classes. There is no excuses for you guys not to get education. You're
And
doing workshops and classes somewhere, John?
oh,
Not at this point. Not right now.
Are you doing any webinars?
Oh, you
Okay,
know what?
okay.
Well,
All righty, guys. So we want to.
Crystal,
oh,
real quick, I do host a radio show on Voice America every Wednesday from 12 to 1 called
oh,
Physical Fitness.
oh, okay. Like
Every
that.
Wednesday,
Oh, okay.
they're recorded. So if
Yeah,
you make it live, that's great. 12 to 1 every Wednesday Pacific time. Or visit Voice America, put in Physical Fitness or my name, and they have the archive. We just started this in September. It's going to continue forward. And in fact, the last one, you might want to go back and see the one we just did Wednesday, because my guest was the only person I know before the polls closed who said emphatically that Georgia was going to flip blue for the White House and the Senate. That was
wow,
on election day. And by
wow.
the way, the reason I had him on the show is because he does what we do. Look at demographics.
Oh,
See that, we heard in the news that the reason was that particularly for the president, the Georgia flipped blue because of the white suburban women. That's not
yeah,
what I see.
yeah.
Georgia is today 30% Black, 20% Latino, 13% Asian American. Let's see, that's 63%.
Yeah, already. Already.
Already. Georgia flipped because Stacey Abrams is a powerful black woman, man. And
53% of the population is stronger than any one person, woman, or man.
Right, exactly. That was huge. That was huge. So yeah, we'll tune into.
She cracked the whip, but you have to have a good audience.
Yeah,
that's very true. So it's called what was it called? What?
I don't think Stacey would have been successful with 63% white suburban women.
No, she wouldn't. She wouldn't. What's the name of your show? Fiscal Fitness. So everybody
just send us an email. Send us an email on the show so we can send it out.
I will get it out.
Yeah.
And the one thing I want to say before we go real quickly is that, well, it's unfortunate that, we've got over 400,000 deaths right now from COVID. But I see COVID as a good thing and a bad thing. The bad thing is that we've got over 400,000 people who have perished from that, and most of them have perished alone. They didn't have a family member with them. They were all alone. And the good thing about it is it forces many of us, especially small businesses, to pivot, to learn new things about the market, about our business, and learn how to do things differently. So we don't just want to do it because, it's a pandemic, but we want to do this forever. Always keep taking stock of your business. Always learn different ways of doing things. And like John said, whoever the leader is will always have a target on their back. Find out who that leader is, develop your target and your strategies as to how you want to challenge them or go around them.
I completely agree. Completely agree. Also, tune into the community briefing every Thursday at 11 a.m. It's broadcasting live on Facebook and Facebook, and we're talking community, what's going on in our community and how we can be actively involved in our community. And the people that are sitting at the table hearing the information firsthand is coming on the show to give it to you. So then you now have something to work with. So tune in on Thursday. And also always come back on Friday at 3:00 for the Business Zone with Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic.
And make sure you subscribe on our YouTube channel so that we can continue to build the channel. We want to thank you guys for all tuning in and listening once again to us, and continue to follow us. And come back next Friday. We'll see you then.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.